Alright, I love this place. The problem is we don't take the time to experience everything it has to offer. My name is Noah. Come with me and let's explore a little bit of my hometown of San Diego.
Well, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Some faces have gone, the places are rearranged. If you could read my mind, you know it's a crying shame. And I'm here to say something lost is something gained. To spend some time on the bright side. To take a ride till we find some daylight. It's a crime to use your hindsight. So take your time. We're coming back from yesterday.
Okay, this episode is an easy one. Why? Because I love the beach. People tell me, Noah, San Diego's more than just a beach. And I realize that. I think it's just that I've been by the ocean my whole life, so I love to come down, put my feet in the sand, and walk along the water. I love the smell of the salt in the air. For me, there's nothing better. We all know San Diego is known for its beaches. There's several up and down our coast, and one of my favorites is Pacific Beach. In 1885, the Transcontinental Railroad reached San Diego, bringing droves of people into town. It didn't take long for many of them to find their way to a coastal area called Pacific Beach. The great thing about Pacific Beach is that it has this huge Pacific Ocean on one side and the calm Mission Bay on the other side, where folks would come down for a cool dip on a hot summer day. In the 1880s, the great Southern California land boom took off, and some of the first lots were sold, for about $60. Land developers convinced the only college south of Los Angeles to establish themselves right in the middle of town. The San Diego College of Arts and Letters was amazing. Eventually, a church was built, right along with the one-room schoolhouse, and Pacific Beach, or PB as the locals call it, began to develop into a beautiful community. It wasn't long before investors decided the time was right to sell property near the ocean. Well, duh, I think I would have done that first. They also decided that a pleasure pier would be a good way to stimulate sales. Crystal Pier opened in April of 1926, and it was a pretty big deal. The other day I was hanging out down by Crystal Pier and I met longtime PB resident John Fry, who told me a little bit about this historic pier.
Well, the history of Crystal Pier goes back to the mid-20s when they finally completed the streetcar from Ocean Beach up to La Jolla, and the west part of Pacific Beach suddenly became valuable property, and they built the pier to attract people.
John has a book called Images of America, Pacific Beach, put out by Arcadia Publishing, and inside are some amazing pictures of early PB, including this aerial of Crystal Pier being built. John said to entice people further, they built a huge ballroom at the end of the pier. It took a crew of 26 men several months to complete, and when it was finished, it was really something to see. Unfortunately, years later, the pier's pylons were discovered to be infested with some sort of beetle, and the ballroom was eventually removed, right along with the midway, which was replaced with these little cottages. And today, you can still go out onto the pier and sleep over the water.
Yes, you can, and it's really interesting because I think 2/3 of the pier is privately owned, and the outer 1/3 is owned by the city, and in order to get to the city-owned part, you have to cross the private-owned part, but it's all been fixed up wonderfully, after the storm in 1982 or 3, and it's a wonderful thing to go out there.
With that, I thought I'd check it out. The cottages are cute, and the view is awesome. From the end of the pier, the view gets even better. John said since he's been here, the area around Crystal Pier has changed a bit.
Well, that was when I moved here in the late 60s. Maynard's was where we're standing, where the Sea condos is, and it was quite an interesting place. And we loved to come down on Sundays for the 25-cent omelets and Tuesday night spaghetti and Thursday night tacos. But it also was a Hell's Angel hangout, so we didn't linger too late. Saw a lot of interesting things. Jimmy was the bartender, and there were lots of stories about Maynard, who he really was. And Maynard drove off the pier in a motorcycle, and probably not true.
Actually, it probably is. I had a good time hanging out with John. He sure did know a lot, about a lot. Seeing that old photo of motorcycles in front of Maynard's made me realize you need a bike to get around in PB. So I stopped into Bicycle Discovery to see the latest in style. Inside I met DK, who was super cool. With dreads like that, you gotta be super cool. The first bike DK brought out was called the Swing Bike. Now, I wasn't sure what that meant until I noticed the front and back end were only connected by a swivel bar. Just trying to sit on it was hard enough, let alone riding it. Once I got the hang of it, it was pretty fun. Next was the lowrider, which was really comfortable. I could have rode this thing cross country. Then the chopper. I could see myself pulling up in front of Maynard's with this one. At Bicycle Discovery, they have a bike for just about everyone. Stop in and take a test drive. DK is all smiles and would be happy to help you out. As Pacific Beach grew, beautiful homes began popping up all over town. Homes like the 1904 Ravenscroft House, or the Hanley family house, or even Oscar Cotton's home built in 1914. One house you definitely can't forget is the house that Charles Wright built. Longtime resident Charles Wright was most known for his surfing. In fact, after being taught by Hawaii's own Duke Kahanamoku, Charles copied Duke's board and became San Diego's first board surfer. Back in 1924, Wright began taking trips down to the beach to gather rocks, which he brought back to his lot on Pismo Court, where he designed and built this entire house by hand. It's pretty amazing. Some of these rocks are huge. I knocked on the front door, which was also made by Charles, all the way down to the rock doorknob, and resident Patty McGee was nice enough to invite me in.
Well, welcome to the house that Charlie Wright built.
Very cool, I love it.
It is very neat. It's very old, but it has so many characteristics that just make it so happy and neat.
This fireplace is
Yeah,
great.
yes.
This thing, look at this rock alone, it's huge.
I know. If you look at it from all the way down up, each rock he took and he split, so it's exactly the same on each side. All the rocks are the same.
Oh my
He just
gosh,
split them.
look at that. Wow. You're right, everyone's even all the way down, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That is cool.
If you sit here long enough, you can find different things in it. Like if you look at it, it looks like a tiki kind of. Like
Oh,
this
I
is the
can see
nose and
that.
the eyes, and then it's the mouth.
Yeah.
So I don't know what he was really aiming for, but you see a lot of different things in it.
Very cool.
Charlie also did all the lighting in the house, all the iron chandeliers throughout the house he did. Yeah, he also did these pieces on the wall, light fixtures on the wall.
Charlie was a pretty crafty guy. He even carved all the ceiling beams by hand. In the kitchen, Patty showed me the refrigerator, which was a little different than what we have today.
This is the refrigerator, and this is what they kept their cold goods in. They kept everything cold by ice.